Chapter 21. Amy. Charlie wakes up twice during the night. Both times it is still raining. Both times she can make out Coyote's form lying on the floor, head toward the open door. The second time he's stretched down on his side, his tail out behind him, a picture of relaxation. It is too warm and muggy in the room to keep the blanket on. Charlie drops it onto the floor and Coyote raises his head at the sound, looks at her for a moment, and then lies down again with a deep sigh that seems to Charlie to be a sigh of pure contentment. It is the most wonderful sound Charlie has ever heard. When she wakes again, the rain has stopped and weak sunlight is filtering through the trees of the lot next door, the wet leaves glittering like diamonds as they move in the morning breeze. Coyote is gone. It's okay, Charlie thought. He spent the night, and he knows now that he can do that and leave whenever he needs to. Someday she's sure that she'll be able to invite him in and then close the door behind him. She'll be able to bring him in upstairs and he'll sleep in her room at the foot of her bed. But for now, this will do. For now she will sleep in the studio and let him come and go as he wants. She lies for a moment, looking at her mother's photographs on the walls. This is Eagle Lake her mother saw. The Eagle Lake that Charlie is coming to know so well. After breakfast, after the walk with Coyote, clouds move in again and it begins to rain. Coyote settles into his spot behind the boxwoods, and Charlie, with nothing else to do, takes her laptop to the breakfast table and turns it on. She checks her email, watches the list of messages scroll onto the screen. There's the usual collection of spam and a few forwarded jokes from her friends. The last message is from someone she doesn't know, Sky Guy 5. And there's an attachment. She's about to delete it when she notices that the subject line says, "Hey, Charlie." Whoever it is, he knows her name. She clicks a symbol at the bottom of her screen to be sure her virus scan is on and opens the message. Charlie O, don't freak, it's me, Amy. Sky Guy 5 is Adam, the club's water skiing instructor who's letting me use his computer. He's cute, but really old, like 19. Are you okay? Did you get my letters? How's your leg? I'm so sick of tennis I want to die. My arm hurts all the time. I'm probably getting tennis elbow and I'm not even any good. It's almost over though. I'm coming home in just 2 more weeks. School starts 3 days later. Can you believe it? Like I said in my letter, I'm so sorry for going away. Really, really sorry. Becky Sue's okay, but she snores. She picks her nose when she thinks nobody's looking. She has a totally awesome digital camera, though. I've been taking pictures like crazy, and Adam's burning them onto a CD for me, so if you're speaking to me again by the time I get back, I'll show them to you. I'm thinking of joining the Photoshop club at school. I'm attaching my favorite picture. Gotta go. Adam wants his computer. Just 2 more weeks. Don't be mad anymore, please. Your friend, no matter what you think, Amy. Charlie sits for a long moment staring at the computer screen. No matter what you think. She would have deleted this message if she had known who it was from. How's your leg? Charlie realizes she hardly ever thinks about her leg these days. And she isn't mad at Amy anymore. But friends? So much has changed that she sure isn't sure that she feels now. 2 more weeks. How can summer be over so soon? She clicks on the JPEG attachment and the photo appears on her screen. It's a picture of a tennis court with the silvery lake showing behind it and pine trees covered mountain rising in the distance. But it's weirdly off-center. So far to the left that she's almost out of the picture entirely. A girl she doesn't recognize is swinging a blurry racket. If this is supposed to be a picture of that girl, it's a waste. Charlie is about to close it down when she notices that the figure sitting on a bench on the right, also almost out of the picture, is Becky Sue Lindner. She is dressed in a tennis outfit, holding a racket in one hand and picking her nose with the other. In spite of herself, Charlie laughs out loud. Chapter 22. Time Together. Time is suddenly getting away from her. With only 2 weeks until she will have to go to school, Charlie decides she needs to spend more of every day with Coyote. Partly it's because the more they're together, the faster the taming will go. And partly because she's already feeling how hard it'll be to leave him most of every day when school starts. Charlie has moved some of her things into the studio and sleeps there every night. Coyote spends the night with her most of the time. It gets humid and buggy with the screen door propped open, but whenever she tries to close it, he scurries out and won't come back. Charlie's father says she can't just leave the door open indefinitely or the dampness could ruin everything in the studio. But she reminds him that she leaves it closed all day. After a while he'll get used to it and to being inside, she assures him, and then I'll be able to close it. In the mornings when she wakes up, Coyote is gone, and she finds him lying out at the end of the driveway when she goes outside. Then, on day 60 of the taming, Charlie opens her eyes to see him lying there still, the sun through the blinds making stripes on his golden fur. He raises his head to look at her. "Good morning," she says, and slowly sits up. He stays where he is, his tail thumping lightly on the floor. Gingerly, careful not to make any sudden moves, Charlie slips out of bed and onto her knees and reaches to pet him. He rolls over onto his side and lets her rub his chest. The connection Charlie feels this time is like a steady vibration up through her arm and into her heart. This is more than a step forward, she thinks. Something very big has changed between them. She tells Sarita about this when she goes upstairs, and is surprised to find herself blinking back tears. Charlie lets the morning walks become longer. The air is filled these August days with the thrum of cicadas, the chirp of crickets and katydids. She finds that she is listening with her eyes, her nose, her skin, as well as her ears. One day she feels a fly walking on her arm and watches as it stops and rubs its front feet together, then cleans its head, its iridescent blue-green body gleaming in the sun. She moves her arm and it flies away. It was just an ordinary fly. If she could have gotten a picture of it in that moment before it flew, she wonders, would anyone else see how beautiful it was? On August 9th, the 61st day of the taming, when they got around the shallow end of the lake and are heading home, Mrs. Davis and Jeremy and Beth Ann are in the water by the swim raft, the kids in life jackets, Mrs. Davis on an inflatable chair with a glass of wine in the cup holder. Sadie's with them, splashing and barking. Charlie watches the dog climb the ladder to the swim raft and jump off. No one has thrown something for her to retrieve. She just does it by herself. Jeremy and Beth Ann call to Charlie to join them in the water. "Betcha you can't jump as far off the raft as I can," Jeremy says. "I don't have my suit on," she tells them. "And how long could it take to remedy that?" Mrs. Davis says, directing a splash at Charlie's canoe. The spray of water feels marvelously cool. "Come on," Beth Ann calls. "Go get your suit and come in and play with us." Thinking about the feel of the water on her skin, Charlie paddles across to her own dock, ties up the canoe, and goes inside to change. When she tells Sarita that she's going into the water, Sarita says she'll come out and sit on the dock to watch. "Some lifeguard you'll be," Charlie says, "scared of turtles and snakes." "Then you'd better not need rescuing," Sarita calls as Charlie heads down the hall to her room. When she goes back out to the dock, Coyote's sitting on the shore across the lake, watching Sadie leap off the swim raft, swim around it, and climb back up. "Insane," Charlie imagines him saying. "Retrievers are insane." Sarita comes down with a large glass of lemonade and a lawn chair and settles herself on the dock. Charlie paddles the canoe out to the swim raft, ties it up, and climbs out. "Ew," Jeremy says from the water when he sees the scar on her leg. "Did they have to cut your leg open to fix it?" "It's a battle wound," Charlie says. "My bone was sticking right out of my leg there, and they had to push it back in." "Gross," Beth Ann says. "Is that true?" "It is," Charlie says. It occurs to her that nothing that might be lurking in the water of Eagle Lake could possibly be worse than what she's been through. "Look out below," she yells, and jumps into the water. A new pattern is set that day. Walk, lunch, rest, boat walk, swim, dinner. Waiting and watching from the shore until everyone has finished swimming, Coyote is getting more and more used to being around humans. Another change in Coyote has to do with Charlie's father. Instead of hiding in the trees when Paul Morgan comes home, the dog has taken to going down the road to meet the car when he hears it coming, tail waving in welcome. He circles the car as it moves down the driveway and stays close when it stops, waiting for the door to open. He doesn't come close enough to be touched, but it's a greeting nevertheless. Charlie convinces her father to keep dog biscuits in the car and toss him one when he gets out to encourage this behavior. "You'll only like me for the biscuits," her father complains. "Biscuits first, friendships after," Charlie tells him, one step at a time. A week before school is due to start, Mr. Hayward sees Charlie and Coyote when they are walking near the mailboxes. "You've done a good job," he tells her. "He looks like a different animal." "He is," she says. "He is."